dekat TikTok ada video ni jadi viral tau. Dia cakap pasal satu anime nama Shoujo Tsubaki. Dia react tengok Shoujo Tsubaki and dia kata dia seram sangat. Ada orang panik tengok, ada orang tengok 3 saat, 10 saat je and then terus berhenti and dia recommend semua orang untuk tak tengok. Tapi obviously bila orang recommend something tak tengok, lagilah kita orang nak tengok kan. Saya nak tahu masa saya tengok ni betul ke dia seram and what's the hype about this. So Shoujo Tsubaki ni nak kata seram tak seram mungkin based on preference and kelemahan diri sendiri. Tapi show ni memang dia fokus kepada gore. Gore dalam bahasa Melayu apa? Ganas ke?
Dia extreme ganas.
Jangan ada explicit sexual dengan abuse punya element dalam movie ni. Sebelum tu kita orang tanya dulu siapa yang buat movie ni. Betul ke dia kena ban dekat Jepun? Pengarah anime ni Hiroshi Harada. An interesting fact about this person is dia tak dapat funding atau sponsor masa dia nak start produce anime ni. Jadi without hesitation, dia guna semua dia punya life savings for 5 years straight untuk buat movie ni seorang-seorang. So he did this movie, this anime Shoujo Tsubaki by himself alone. Dia hand-drawn 5,000 paper of animations by himself. Tapi kita sedih gak kalau dia tulis semua ni tapi lasas kena ban kan. So this person dia memang interested in ero guru atau guru ero guru tak siap. Genre anime ni memang ero dia macam sex atau benda sexual and guru is very gory. Bila dah tahu that's the theme of the movie, then it's up to the audience whether dia orang nak consume atau tengok ke tak. Tapi whether this tema correlates dengan whether it's seram or not could be different. So saya nak tahu diri sendiri. Jadi saya pun tengok movie too. What is it about? What's the premise or what's the summary of the plot? The story started off with the main character which is a girl, is very poor and was taking care of her mom. So dia jaga mak dia, tapi lepas tu memang straight. Macam start je movie dia, mak dia dah mati. So mak dia dah mati, dia tak boleh jaga diri. Dia jumpa dengan seorang lelaki ni. And lelaki ni bawa dia atau trick dia masuk kepada circus atau satu freak show. And inside this circus, inside this freak show is where dia kena mental, physical and sexual abuse. So the tone of the story started to get dark from there. Jadi from here kita nampak from perempuan tu punya perspektif macam mana consequence of living dengan freaks, orang macam pelik, orang buat macam weird magic atau weird body parts, semua tu were treated underpaid or the dark world or the underground world. And cerita ni bagi saya tak seram tapi it's depressing as if you can empathize with the main character, literally not a single good thing happened to her in the whole story. However, what's interesting about this anime yang I personally like lah, the message try to send. Dia nak criticize dunia human trafficking dengan parents negligence, dengan trusting strangers. Ada banyak elemen yang dia nak ceritakan. Tapi saya rasa ramai orang tak boleh grasp atau tak boleh telan bila tengok sebab dia distracted dengan nudity, dia distracted dengan banyak darah atau gore. Tapi dia terlupa fokus kenapa dia tunjuk benda-benda gore ni in the first place. So in conclusion, movie ni tak ngeri. Macam yang orang kat TikTok tu dia exaggerate. Kalau tengok orang tu tengok 30 saat terus berhenti, or like first 3 minutes dia terus macam over panic. Nah, that is overreaction. Jadi bila tengok TikTok janganlah percaya sangat overreaction ni daripada orang. Obviously dia nak banyak views kan. Before you watch any anime, tengok dulu dia punya genre, tengok dulu synopsis dia dulu, suka ke tak, boleh tahan scary ke tak. The movie isn't scary at all tapi it's just really really depressing.
Alright. First of all, that was a very...
I don't know. I don't have any reactions to that. But alright.
But first of all, that was actually a very, really informative video, right?
It was like
Yeah.
talking about the anime and it's gory. Alright.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm pretty sure the audience will be like, hey, why are we talking about this?
So let's go on with the show.
Sure. We're good. Anyways, hello guys, welcome back to another episode of What's Up World with me, Haikal and Shakir. Yeah, so we're switching roles for today.
Yeah, so hi. Welcome back guys to our third episode entitled Diving into the World of Animation.
And movies, right? So we picked this topic because we felt that, we're doing movie commentary soon in week 12 for ELC students semester 3. So we think it would be nice to bring somebody who actually has knowledge or has experience, dissecting movies, analyzing movies, and, have a love and interest for them. And this could definitely help you with your presentation.
Yeah, it should. So it's hopefully that he can help you with your points in your movie commentary, as well as gonna help with us, to give us ideas
Yes,
what to talk about and what to focus on in our movies as well.
for sure. Now, fun fact: this guest is actually one of my seniors back in high school. Yeah,
All right, that's cool.
true. So, without further ado, please welcome Wan Muhammad Zamah Shari.
Woo!
Yo, what's up, everyone? What's up, weebs and normies? My name is Ari Ozama. You call me
That's
whatever
Ari
you
for
want.
you. How are you doing, man?
How are you doing?
How are you? I'm doing very fine. Drink a lot of water, stay hydrated. Yeah, so that's it.
True. I mean, the last time I saw you have very short hair, and now you have very, very long hair, man.
Yeah, just in that video alone demonstrates how long I've kept my hair because of COVID.
Oh my! So you don't have any plans on cutting it at all?
I do want to cut it so badly, but I told myself that I'm going to cut it only after COVID ends, but it doesn't
I
appear
don't think that's
likely
gonna
that will happen. Yeah, so we'll see.
I mean, looking by what you look like right now, it looks like you're like a philosopher or something,
Yeah, you do.
like Aristotle. Those long hair.
I just look like a hobo. But
All
I
right,
would definitely cut my hair here.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. So, anyways, we brought Wanzam Mashari to explain a bit about anime, a bit about some Western movies and comparison, all that stuff, all that great stuff. So this is how the flow of the show would go. So we're gonna do an interview session with Eri here.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the reason why I call him Eri because that's what he is usually referred to, Eri.
Okay, not the one he means. Like,
I mean,
oh my God.
that's his anime.
That's my weed name. Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll move on to the Q&A session where you, the audience, can ask him questions about anything on movies or anime.
So
right?
Put all those questions down and we'll do the session right after we interview him. So,
yes. Right. So let's move on to the interview session, Jack. All right. So you want to read all the questions that we want to ask Ari?
So we have the first question. We have 3 questions actually, which is the first being, what makes Western and Asian animations unique? The second being, how do you break down and analyze a movie? And the third, how has anime changed your life? So we'll start with the first one. What makes Western and Asian animations unique? Eric.
All right. So first question, what makes Western and Eastern animation unique? I think before I answer this question, the first thing we need to understand or clarify is what are Western animations and Eastern animations to begin with. Because when we talk about Western animation, it's too general, We can talk about Disney, we can talk about Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and even recently Riot Games, especially with the massive success of Arcane, right? So for the sake of this conversation and for the sake of simplicity, I think it's fair if we put Western animation under the banner of Disney, with some exceptions of things like Arcane that I want to talk about, or Legend of Korra or Aang, Avatar Bender, and things like that, because this usually represents Western animation. And then we have the subcategory like The Simpsons, Family Guy, and things like that. And those are like more like comedy and parody, right?
Yeah.
And when we talk about Asian animation or Eastern animation, this is also too generalized because Ipin counts as like Southeast like Asian animation.
Yeah, Southeast Asian, yeah.
We're not talking about that, right? We're specifically talking about anime. Specifically. So with that being said, just in case, right? I think one of the most important distinction when we talk about this type of anime is the art style. This is something that you see, the first thing you see when it comes to anime and Western animation. When it comes to Disney or Pixar and things like that, you notice that most of the time the animations are 3D, right?
True.
Motion picture and things like that. But when it comes to anime, it's mostly 2D. Only recently, the anime is trying to make some 3D animation. They're trying to add some CGI. Recent example is like Studio Ghibli's latest movie. I forgot what's it called, but it's full on 3D. Hello World, it's also 3D. It looks eerie or looks weird, but I feel like they're slowly improving on that side. So the first important distinction is the art style, which is something that we see. Secondly, I want to talk about genre. This is something that I've talked a bit with Haikal before in another podcast, right? But TLDR, only anime, this is based on my own personal observation, where they are able to create their own genre in the entertainment field. Because when you look at Chinese animation, even Western, whether it's Europe or North America, they don't have shoujo tag, shonen tag, isekai, and things like that. And this is something that is, I feel, culturally unique towards not just Asian animation, but like Japanese animation specifically, right? No other communities have isekai. They would just rather be general and say fantasy. And when we talk about shonen, it's basically a combination of action, adventure, some form of comedy, and things like that. So another unique thing about anime, in contrast to Western animation, I believe, is the genre itself. And if you want to talk about further, I would also talk about archetypes and tropes. So what we need to understand about archetypes and tropes is things that are repeatedly seen in animations or specifically anime. If you notice, if you watch any cartoons, whether it's Cartoon Network, Disney, Nickelodeon, or things like that, and you watch, let's say you watch over 50 or 100 animes, you notice that these animes have archetypes. What do I mean by archetypes? Like certain characters, they're basically copy paste of each other in a different anime. And what do I mean by this is something like tsundere, kudere. These are character archetypes. Whereas a typical tsundere is like she's acha-acha marah, like aggressive, but she's actually really soft inside. And this is unique to anime. Like you don't see anywhere else, and they have a name for it, archetype. And even the episodes, they have their own trope kind of episodes. And this is something that Western animation don't have. For example, beach episode. I feel like it's just anime. It's just anime where no matter how many animes you watch like Darling in the Franxx or Haruhi Suzumiya or any slice of life anime for that matter, there's one compulsory episode in the series, which is the beach episode. And
Wait,
they are targeted. Yeah.
Just curious, if like did Naruto had a beach episode?
Yeah, too bad Naruto doesn't have a beach episode, but they have a lot of facts. Like Naruto, I remember in Naruto, not Naruto Shippuden, there was this episode where Naruto took a peek on Hinata while she was bathing in the river or something like that. So that's not a beach episode, but that's as close as you can get because the only beach that they can go is just the sand village, I guess, and that's without the.
They live in the jungle, in the forest.
Yeah, they live in the leaves, so like it's hard to find. You have to go to the hidden sand village.
Yeah, hidden leaf village. But yeah, that's the most unique thing when it comes to anime. There are like we can talk for hours just on this question alone, right?
Yeah.
Because there are things like script writing, dialogue, even the subtlety of the transition and each scene. To me, anime has something to tell besides harem or ecchi lah. If you guys only consume harem and ecchi, then obviously the writing isn't that great. It's mostly for fan service. But like you watch things from Studio Ghibli, or you watch anime like Perfect Blue or Paprika, these like old anime movies, they are more in depth compared to Western. Not to say that Western animation isn't in depth, especially when we talk about Disney. I feel like one of my favorite Disney movie is Zootopia, not because I'm a furry, I am not, but I feel like there's a lot of subtlety and layers in Zootopia that kids or average people don't see. So yeah, there's a lot of differences and uniqueness in terms of Western and Asian animation, but these are the ones that I feel like the most glaring or the most obvious.
True. But I also like to point out like about Eastern and Western animation is the sort of value that they center around the characters, right? So if you go for Western values, they're a bit more on the liberal side, right? Focus on liberal values.
True.
And then when you go for Eastern values, more on the bit more conservative, where you focus on family and all that stuff, right?
I noticed that like those animations.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty unique. Like it shows a different distinction between two different unique perspective of storytelling and art telling.
True.
And you can see just in the comments, somebody said Konosuba. Oh wait.
Well, Konosuba, fellow cultured individual in the comment section, I guess. But yeah, a trash isekai that I enjoy for sure. And I'm not saying it's trash because it's bad. You know, I feel like a lot of people, when I say trash isekai, they're saying that it's like bad, but no, it's just a meme in the anime community where I say the anime is trash. It's like even though like it's the writing is bad, but we enjoy it. So I watch a lot of like bad writing anime, but doesn't mean that it is bad. Because to me, anything that is entertaining could be good.
True. That's very true. I agree.
But Ari, I just want to ask you before we move on to the second question, right? So, is anime considered like lowbrow or highbrow art? Okay, so to give context to the audience, right?
All right.
Okay, so lowbrow basically means it's the popular, popular film, popular arts. Okay, so highbrow is basically the very classy, films, very classy,
Like what?
like classy films, like not normal people can.
Right.
Yeah. So do they have that in anime?
I believe that in anime, something similar like that goes through experience, because especially with the recent amount of people watching anime, because we can agree that anime has only been recently mainstream, right? It's like
True.
anime has been existing. It's like since before Astro Boy, but Astro Boy was like the one that made anime famous or globalized in 1960s. But in Malaysia, only recently it became popular, correct? And I feel like most of the recent viewers would watch something that is easy to consume. So we're talking about anime like Sword Art Online, Attack on Titan, Konosuba. Yeah, so these are anime that is easy to consume. So perhaps it fits the description of the low something, right? And then you have anime that is more difficult to grasp. And I can give example, right? Shinsekai Yori, I think this is a very underrated anime, though I don't think a lot of people can appreciate it if they just started watching anime. You have anime like Sakura Reset, you have anime like Stains Gate, and even Code Geass. I think Code Geass is easy to consume, but I think Stains Gate at first could intimidate certain people. So yeah, if that fits your description, there are certain animes that is hard to grasp. Anime like Paprika, for example, I think it's hard to grasp, but it's easy to watch Konosuba and laugh without context.
True.
Yeah, things like that. So yeah, I think it does exist.
Okay, it does exist. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool, lah. Anime is a form of art, so of
You can
course,
see like the
it-
differences
yeah.
in the art style, the story style between like Western and Asian.
yeah. And I know for a fact that you like, what's that? That favorite isekai is it?
ReZero.
Yeah, ReZero.
ReZero is my favorite isekai. Not in terms of plot or story. I mean, it's also good, but I think I just relate to Subaru a lot. I think the main character is so real, and the emotion is very raw.
True. Now I think this slightly goes into the second question.
Yeah.
You want to see that, Shak?
So the next question we have for you is, how do you break down and analyze a movie? So in movies,
Okay.
like anime movies or Western movies.
Okay, this is a very good question, and I think it's interesting because, like, whenever I watch anime or movies, usually I feel like there's two people watching inside of me, right? There's this casual watcher, Eri or Zama, just enjoying whatever the TV is showing, and then there's this weeb Wanimes, right? So I think this question is addressed to the weeb side of myself, right? So how do I analyze and determine whether a movie or anime is good? For me personally, there's four things that I look for, right? Number one is plot. Number two, characters. Number three, theme. And number four, the visuals. So all these four components, I feel like is very standard when it comes to people reviewing or watching things. But here's how I break down each of it in a short manner, hopefully. So when it comes to plot, there's three things that makes it good, personally for me: consistency, clarity, and execution. Because if you want to dive deep into the animation scene, not just anime. I think storytelling in general. Usually, when you watch an anime, when you watch a movie, you realize there's a plot structure in each story. So there's Act One, Act Two, Act Three, or there's like between the transition, there's the starting, the climax, after climax, the conclusion, and things like that. Understanding the plot structure and making sure that it's consistent, I think demonstrates a good plot, and it's clear, and the execution. I think execution is more important because most of the time plot isn't the problem, it's how they deal with the plot, if that makes sense. A lot of people confuse story with plot. Story and plot is two different things, all right? For example, a story is, when we talk about Naruto, what is Naruto about? Naruto is about a kid named Naruto who wants to be Hokage one day. That's the goal, that's the general story. But plot is the not the transition, but the chronological order of how he became Hokage. So he started as a kid, he became like this and that, fought pain, blah blah blah, and he became Hokage. So that's the plot and plot structure. And to me, I think it's going too deep when we're breaking down plot, right? There are many types of plot that you can do. There's linear plot and non-linear plot as well. And linear plot to me is mundane. It's a bit boring because it's the standard. You see the stories go straight forward, whether it's from kid getting older or it doesn't have any depth. Non-linear plots are stories like Steins Gate, for example, where when you watch, or even not Cardcaptor Sakura or Tsubasa Chronicle, you watch these movies, you watch this anime, Inception, for example, you're not watching just one line, you're watching like a different
multiple timelines,
as well. And the way that it executes is to me is just amazing. Like something hard to do that. And there's also parallel lines. For example, a lot of K-drama does this, and I think some K-drama is really good because I watch K-drama as well, where there's two different stories. In anime, there's this isekai called I'm a Spider, So What? Or So What, I'm a Spider, where the first half they told one story, and then the second half they told a different story, and at the end of the last episode, boom, they both meet. But they were like from different places.
I like stories like that.
Yeah, these are parallel. It's happening in different time or different place. Like Kimi no Na wa, for example, like your name. So these aren't standard mundane, like straightforward plot line that I really enjoy. Not saying that linear plots are bad, but in terms of criticizing, whenever I look, I want to see something that's new or clever instead of something simple like a linear plot. Because I feel like everyone can write a linear story to a certain extent. But to make a non-linear plot, I think that takes more skill. This is just the first one, right? Yeah.
I mean, that's a debater talking to you in front. But Eric, do you think that cliche movies are good to watch? Like, are they?
It definitely is. I think people hating cliches are overrated. I think like cliches are fine to enjoy, but like I said, the most important thing is always the execution, how they execute the cliche. Because the reason why cliches are bad or can be seen as bad is because if you watched it repetitively, it becomes redundant. So you watch this scene, you watch this typical cliche scene is like the banana peel on the floor, and
you know what's gonna happen.
And too much of that becomes boring. And anime has a lot of cliches or tropes that can become boring. But if you're just a casual enjoyer, I think you wouldn't mind it. I don't think cliches are generally bad, but it can be bad if executed poorly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going on to the second question.
Going back.
Right? I'm so sorry if this takes like so long, right? But
No,
second one,
we're enjoying it because there's a lot of like people in the conversations are actually asking questions. So continue, Ari.
So the second one I want to discuss is about theme, right? So when I watch anime or any stories, not me, Wanimas, right? The weeb side of me. I would ask, what are they trying to convey? Is it shallow? Does it have many layers? And how do they show it when it comes to themes? An example, an anime that I really like is A Silent Voice, Koe no Katachi. If anyone
if you guys haven't watched it, you guys should definitely watch it. So
Definitely.
so the main theme is about redemption, right? But there's a lot of themes that comes with it. There's bullying, there's suicide, self-harm, things like that. A lot of package, and at the end, the execute is really well done when it comes to redemption. And I feel like a good theme executed done with a good plot makes the story well more appreciative and immersive. Because contrast that, if you have a really good plot but shallow story, it doesn't become deep, but it can still be enjoyable. For example, any parody, if someone, okay, Konosuba is a good example, right? But more than that, we can talk about anime like Nichijou or Daily Life of High School Boys. These are like goof anime, like you watch just to laugh, just for fun. Sergeant Keroro. These are the Simpsons or the Family Guy of anime, where you only watch. So it's not that deep, but it's still enjoyable at the same time. But I would not rate it high lah. Third are the characters. So when we talk about characters, right, I think we can have a lot of conversation because more often than not, I think consumers or viewers tend to overlook a good character, because I think most characters in animes are actually written poorly because of the way that the dialogue is written. And what do I mean by that? It's just not realistic. It just doesn't feel
True,
real.
true.
Like you have this internal monologue, how everything works, and then you overreact to certain situation. These are the things that are very common in anime, but it gets real when actual characters exist. I can give bad examples of bad characters. For example, like Shield Hero. Like if anyone has ever watched the Isekai Shield Hero anime, there's only one character in that anime, which is Naofumi. Because Raftalia, Philo, all other characters in the anime are not characters. They're just a copy paste of bad writing. Personally, for me, it just doesn't feel real. The script feels so bland. But now for me is the only good character that was written. And what I mean by this, when you look at Raftalia or when you look at Philo and other characters, it's like a copy paste of other characters where isekai, you have need harem, need some girls, and one of the girls are apparently a slave and things like that. These are very common archetypes in the isekai genre, which I feel was poorly done by Shihiro. But Shihiro was entertaining regardless. I mean, I feel good when Naofumi got his revenge at the end, but it doesn't neglect the fact that all the characters are really bad in terms of story writing. And last but not least, how do I determine a good story or a good movie or anime? Are the visuals. And what do I mean by visuals? Because visuals are very general. Besides art style, because I wanted to talk about Arcane. I think Arcane is not an anime. It's by a French company. Like Riot Games hired a French company to create Arcane, and I think Arcane by far is the best animation I've watched this year. And what I mean by animation, it tops up any anime that I've watched this year. And I watch like 10 plus anime per season. Anime has like
Wow, that commitment.
The
then I
commitment.
watch at least 10 anime, to keep myself updated with the current good animes and things like that. And none of the anime, I would say, could top off like Arcane. Arcane is such a well done from beginning to end. And maybe I'm a bit biased because I also play League of Legends and bit
He sees
biased,
all his
Little
favorite heroes in
biased.
there.
bit biased. But yeah, I think it's quoted because not just the art style is unique, but the cinematography and the layers are also very deep. I want to give an example, not in Arcane. So I want to talk about an anime called Erase. In Japan, it's called, I think, Boku wa Tachiga Inaimachi. Yeah, basically Erase and Hello World. Erase and Hello World has the same director. And when you watch, there's this one scene in Erase where the main character and the heroine, and in between there's a tree. So because they don't know each other yet, this is the a scene where everything was a bit dark and red. She was in the playground, and there's a tree in between. So this is the point of view of the camera. And when they get closer, you can see that he goes next to like after the tree, he goes next to her. And this is something that is very subtle, and I think it's very well done, and it's done many times in anime. The subtlety. What does this scene shows? It shows that when they were apart, when they don't know each other, they were separated by something, which is the tree. It's very symbolic. And when they get closer to each other, they go past the tree. And this is the same scene that happens in Hello World as well, because it's the same director. He likes to use these type of things. But there are many more subtleties and subliminal symbolic messages in anime. For example, like Evangelion or Steins Gate or Code Geass. Little things, symbolic things, even in Attack on Titans, the typical when you see birds flying. Why do they show birds flying? It's just a symbolic to freedom, for example. And I feel like Western animation don't utilize this type of literature or literary devices, they call it. And anime tends to use that like in a really, really good way. So what I mean by visual is the literary devices that they use and certain camera angles and transitions that is very profound to me. So yeah, bear in mind that is the shortest answer. We can talk about for hours just about plot alone. But yeah, 4 things how I analyze a movie or anime.
That was a very in-depth answer by you, Eric.
Sorry.
Like listening to you give your knowledge onto us about how to analyze a movie using those 4 elements. It was amazing. Because like now I actually have an idea what to talk about and how to analyze my movie that I'm going to choose for this English task we're going to have. So
Sure.
it's pretty cool to see your insight in how you dissect a movie fully, right?
And like it's so like for me like when I hear Ari speak, it's like a debate style. You know, you're just like breaking down like
it has structure.
It has structure.
It has the points, and then you say
all habits die hard.
True, all habits die hard for sure. Now let's move on to the final question, and then let's move on to the Q&A session, because I think there's a lot of
a lot of people are quite asking.
So last but not least is, so we've talked about all the philosophical and very in-depth stuff, but then let's more go to a personal question for Ari.
Yes,
right. So which is, how has anime changed your life?
This is a very personal question for sure, and I've touched this topic a few times already, one on ML Studio and one on my own channel. But those videos were like very long time ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. But to a TLDR, a recap, I think anime changed my life in a lot of ways. The easiest way that I can say is it made me appreciate art more. And when I talk about art, I'm not just talking about anime, right? I'm talking about any form of art, because dance is a form of art, music is art, card tricks is a form of art.
There's a lot of different types.
A lot of things are considered art, and there's more than what meets the eye. Sometimes we see some simple tricks, but there's an art behind that trick. And whenever I watch a movie, I know how the scene, how they think about the scene in a deep manner. That's why I don't appreciate lazy work when it comes to animation or even movies, right? You know it's lazy when they don't put much thought in the script writing, how the script writing or plot holes and things like that. It demonstrates that they don't really care as much as the great directors. You can give Hayao Miyazaki, Hideaki Anno. I love these 2 people. Osamu Tezuka, these are legendary, iconic figures in the anime industry, and they put a lot of work. So yeah, it made me appreciate art more. And I think it made me think a bit differently. One of the anime that influenced my life is actually Fate Stay Night, for the Fate universe in general. So not Fate Stay Night per se, but Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel. It's 2 different routes. So basically, it's more a philosophical kind of thing, because in philosophy, there's this thing called utilitarianism and deontology, right? So utilitarian basically means sacrificing few for the sake of more or bigger picture, right? And I feel like the Fate universe, especially Unlimited Blade Works, portray Shiro in a very, very deep manner, because he wanted to be an ally of justice, just like his adoptive father, right? And you could see how he took his ideals to the extreme and the consequences. And in Unlimited Blade Works, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess, when he fought his future self, you could see how the battle between ideas clashed to each other, and how he went against Gilgamesh, basically the most broken servant in the universe, fighting a chipla, a fake like Shiro, because he doesn't have an original sword. All of his powers are basically duplicates and replicas of the others. And then he questions that just because it's a copy doesn't mean it's worse than the original and things like that. There was a lot of deep things that made me change the way that I view in life, because Shiro made me feel more altruistic in general, or I appreciate altruism, the value of altruism even more. And a lot of animes influence the way that I think and see in life. So yeah, but that's basically the short version of it.
And you can watch the rest on ML Studio, of course. Lah.
Sure.
So yeah, if you want to watch that, we've done the WhatsApp message, right? So you guys can just look all on a few of Aries videos, right? Because I think I don't know, I like watching his videos on ML, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, once in a while I do watch his videos. Even his non-anime reviews are really good as well, right?
Yeah. I actually made a video about Taylor Swift. I don't know when it's gonna come out, but yeah. A lot of my old videos aren't out yet in ML, because the way that ML Studio works, right? If you go to the studio, you record like 8 videos, 8 topics in one day.
Oh wow!
And then they will post it like for the entire year. So I think this year I went twice, but like most of the videos that out recently are like really old videos, not the recent one that you can tell by my hair. If my hair is short, that's an old video. If my hair is long, that must be recent. But if you want to know any video that's recent, it's me wearing a ML shirt. I think they said, "Oh, can you wear this shirt while recording?" Yeah, sure, why not? I got this shirt as well. So yeah, ML is a bit different. That's why I don't know. The timing sometimes is off. I was like, but it's cool. It's cool.
But it's cool. I mean, if Taylor Swift is coming, I hope it's going to be in 2022, right?
Yeah.
22.
I don't know when it's gonna come out. It's random. It's really random.
So y'all better like watch out for his new videos coming out soon.
True.
Be alert.
Right. So let's move on to the Q&A session.
All right.
Let's start with the first one, which is number 1. I think this is a really interesting one. So, Haikal, do you think that not Mila, but in the comments, do you think that cartoon from Malaysia can compete with Japanese anime?
Can it compete? Yes. Will it compete? I'm not sure, because I'm not very knowledgeable with the current animation in Malaysia in particular. However, I do know that anyone can compete if they have good marketing. I think a lot of show or a lot of things in life revolves around how you market yourself to people and how effective the marketing strategy is. So the way that anime was popularized in the global world was through piracy. I made a video on Kiss Anime that got a lot of backlash from Zaf viewers, right? But they didn't know that anime was popular because of pirated websites in the first place. So I don't know how Malaysia can or will compete with anime in terms of popularity, but if they have a really good story writing, a really unique animation style, and a really good marketing strategy, then it can. But will it do all those 3 things? I don't know.
True.
Good answer.
Actually, good answer. Honestly, I speaking from who I've watched a bit of Malaysian animation, I have to say but I have to say, but it's very.
I'm sorry, I have to say it.
I think it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I have to give credit where it's due, right? Like if you watch Bobo Boy 2 and if you watch,
I said Bobo Boy movie was good. I haven't watched it, but a lot of people said it was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
Agent Ali as well.
Agent Ali as well was very good.
It can compete, for sure. I think it just takes the correct marketing strategy, and I think it will flourish.
Maybe if they change a bit of the anime style, the
Just make
animation,
it
a bit more
better, I
smoother.
guess.
I think it could go all the way.
For sure.
So like you
For
want to
sure.
move on to the next question, Kak?
Yes, we'll go on to the next question. I think I think we have another one from Zakwan, right?
All right.
Okay.
So
What are the steps to have commitments on animation while studying other course? Because I'm thinking of starting
animation.
animating on my own.
Yeah.
One of the steps to have commitments on animation was studying other course, because I think when it comes to commitment is an individual thing. I can't tell you what to do, but the only advice I can offer is how much do you actually want to create your own animation. Because I've seen a lot of small creators on YouTube. For example, there's this one creator called, I forgot his name, but he started the Starter Squad. So Starter Squad was a small parody of Pokemon. Basically, they made a Pokemon story and they animated their own, the whole thing. It was just a parody. It was like 30-second, 50-second. And throughout the 10 years, there's only 10 episodes. But the animation got better and better because they got attention. But it started off as a parody, and only recently they have a real good story. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what are the actual steps to have commitment, but if you are really passionate about it, you will find your own time to animate and study. Because at the end of the day, we do actually have time. Sometimes the moment we complain we don't have time is the time that we don't use to work.
We have time to complain, right? But
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
think about it. 24 hours is actually
a very long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to. You can, like, when it comes to work, you don't have to invest the whole day, right? Because you have to go on your own pace. It's like commitment. Because I don't want to put steps. Because if you follow my steps, for example, people can also get burnout, for example, because it's not their own style. So I want you to keep your own pace. And when you find the right time, whether it's 30 minutes a day or 1 hour a day to work on your animation and work on your studies, then it's completely fine. It's whether how much you want your animation to succeed, how much do you want to make your animation is the question. And if you're very, very passionate about it, you will find your own time to do it.
Wow, that motivation.
You need to have the drive to do what you want to do,
True,
right?
true.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
mean,
the passion, bro. But and discipline at the same time, for sure.
because it's crazy enough to think to put yourself into such a situation that you're passionate.
Right.
Like those who stay and are willing to go through the process are the ones that stay.
I mean, you should know, Carl. You have a podcast. You've been doing it for how many years now?
I've been doing it for 2
You
years.
see, you've been doing it for 2 years non-stop with your buddy. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
I mean,
it shows that you're really committed, really passionate
Yeah,
about this project.
it's very, very consistent. Yeah, very consistent.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really good.
I
Something
mean,
I don't have.
I mean, the last time when I did a podcast with Ari, it was still quite small, relatively small, but now it has gone to somewhere. I think we're sort of getting some recognition.
I see. So
Yeah.
see, all that hard work, like you're just doing it as a hobby, and now it's something you're passionate about. It's certainly paid off. I've
True,
seen.
true. But I don't know. We might invite Ari again.
Oh wow.
we'll see. This is the relay part one.
Yeah, true. Okay. I think we move on to the next question by Amirul Hakim. He was very, very active, and and by the way, he's an
English
Emilia
program.
stan. He's an Emilia stan from U0.
Emilia, really? It's fine. The less the RAM stands exist, more RAM for me. It's a win-win. Go, Emilia. I think I want everyone else to go to Emilia. I'll just stay.
So Amirul, you heard the man. You can take Amelia all the way.
Yeah. Take it. That area has
Ram
RAM for himself. Okay. So the question that Amirul wanted to ask is, how has anime influenced the world? Now, this is a very interesting question because what you said just now, right? Like, it has been popularized recently in Malaysia, and I think throughout the whole world. I think people are starting to get recognition for anime, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So, like, how much has it influenced the world, and based on your opinion?
How much anime has influenced the world? Well, first of all, I feel like I have to give the credit to Disney first, which is the Western studio, because a bit of a history lesson from anime, a bit boring, but I hope I can make it as interesting as possible. So the first anime that was globalized or went to the Western world is Astro Boy, okay, by Osamu Tezuka, the godfather of anime and manga. So basically, his writing or his anime was heavily inspired by Disney because he grew up with Disney and he made Astro Boy. That's why in the early years of animation or anime, most of the style is has a resemblance with Disney. And you can even watch Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli's earlier movies where the vibe doesn't have the modern anime vibe. Most of the vibe, because family values and things like that, is mostly from Disney and Pixar. So like yes, the right now anime has influenced the world in a way that is reversed than before. And what do I mean by that, right? When we look at Avatar, The Last Airbender from Nickelodeon, right, and Legend of
Very nice
Korra,
animation. Very nice.
you can see that they have inspiration from anime in contrast to
Yes.
Western animation to begin with. So the way the anime has influenced the world, even though the West influenced them historically, we can see that more styles are being developed, especially with Arcane, for example, because League of Legends art style is very anime-ish. Because like compared to Dota is very Western as you when it comes to animation, right? But when we look at League of Legends, the character designs, the story is very anime-ish, even though it's Western. And then you have Arcane, which put like Western animation on a higher pedestal. And I feel like the way that anime influenced the world is it creates more competition and diversity in the animation world. So yeah.
Ooh.
Pretty cool. Like you
Pretty
see,
cool.
like he's talked about Arcane. I agree with him 100%. I've just recently watched Arcane again. It's such a nice series.
But I think I want to add to Ari's point is that I think one way that I think anime has been very popular is the seasonal animes, and how many animes it produced in just one
Yeah, dude.
one
They
year.
do
It's like
so much.
yeah, it's like a lot.
A lot. Every season has like what 20 or 30 new
Yeah,
animes
something around
that
there.
people can't keep up. So imagine like a whole year batch of anime. So definitely.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot to pick from. So pick wisely, I guess.
Don't pick the ones with like almost 1,000 episodes like One Piece. I mean, you can, but it will take you years to catch up with it, I guess.
Yeah, for
But
sure. Like 1,000 plus, like you watch One Pice, Detective Conan,
Oh my gosh.
Sazae-san. These are like really long series.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But you know what? Talking about like Korra and sorry, Korra. Yeah, I mean, the Last Airbender, right?
Yeah.
Would you see it as a fusion of both Eastern and Western values?
Yes, for sure. I think like because a lot of people say like when it comes to Airbender, like Legend, Aang, Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's like symbolism or criticism towards China, for example, because each of the nation represents a certain country, right?
Yeah.
And like Fire Nation is more like imperializing, they're more like warlike kind of things, and each nation has its own representation, right? And I feel like that is a very Asia thing, but it is created by Western, right? So you have like both values mixed together. So I do agree in to a certain extent that yeah, it's both Asia and West.
No, I have yet to wait for like the Western people to release something like Legend of Aang like that. Like I'm really waiting for them to release a new one.
I mean,
At least something that can compete with it. You know, it's such a good movie. I don't know how old it is.
wait,
How old is it?
movie?
but-
Are you talking about the movie or the series?
No, the series.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. It's such a good series, man. Like I'm waiting for them to put out another one like that can compete with Aang and Korra.
True. I mean, the series has been quite a while already. But yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those series where it's an evergreen series. You know.
Yeah.
Like it's always constantly like not constantly, but it's always refreshing to watch it every
Yeah.
time watching Ang maybe.
Aang.
Someone talked about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I think like
Yeah, would you
Into
like
the
to give your opinion
Spider-Verse
on that?
was a great was
Right.
a great movie, yeah, for sure. And like it it builds up hope that Disney isn't the only studio that demonstrates how good animation is in the Western world. Uh, Even Marvel and DC, they have their own superhero animation series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that they're bad. When I was a kid, I enjoyed watching Teen Titans. Not Teen Titans Go, okay? That's like super right
The
now.
OG
Yeah,
one,
the
yeah,
OG one,
actual
yeah, yeah.
humanoid looking ones. Those the
Yeah,
best.
yeah,
Really.
Shaolin Showdown, Ben 10 Alien Force, and I feel like all these series are good as a like, childhood memories. Pretty sure when I
Mhm.
revisit, I will only like it due to nostalgia and not really story.
Yeah,
But it's
and all the
fine because most
animation.
of the target audience are children, right? And it is
True.
enjoyable, and it's not really bad. But I do enjoy those type of stories.
True. I mean, now we're getting a sequel.
I'm really excited
Oh,
for the
dude,
sequel.
like
It's coming out next
yeah,
year.
it's like
Oh yeah, yeah,
another
the
Spider-Man movie to
Spider-Verse.
another. So, yeah, and then next is Spider-Man No Way Home coming out next week.
Oh my goodness.
It's technically promoting
And,
Marvel
and,
now.
but I love
Right,
the
right. But,
animation. I agree. I agree. Into the
true, true. The
Spider Verse
animation.
was something unique.
Yeah.
Like Arcane. It's an art style that we don't really see often on movies or
True.
television show, right? When we watch Arcane, because Arcane, the trailer came like last year or 2 years ago, and a lot of people were worried because the animation looks different, and in their eyes at the time it looks kind of bad. But when it came out and you watched the whole 9 episodes, you were like, wow, this animation is really good. And same goes to
Yeah.
Spider-Verse, right? Into the Spider-Verse, when the trailer came out, when I looked at it, it looks like a 30 FPS top motion at first, right? Because it's not really fluid, the animation when I would watch the trailer. But then when it came out, it became like super immersive and enjoyable. So yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it won an Oscars for that. Am I correct?
I'm not sure whether they won or not, but if they do, then props to them.
Props to them. Yeah, yeah. But still, amazing.
Are they even a
Okay,
game?
so I.
I always want to
uh,
have a comment about Riot Games.
yeah.
And Amiro has like a lot to say about
Yeah,
Riot
Amiro is
Games,
just
man.
really into it
Yeah.
right now. Like looking, he's been very active. Thank you, Amiro. I know you might educate, but thank you. Thank you for being like supportive for this episode. Alright, anyways, but I think we have reached the conclusion of the episode today.
Yeah.
Yes. So first of all, thank you, Ari, for coming in again and for sharing your insights on and series on the movies. Right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here and giving
Yeah,
your
yeah.
insight about. So, as a
Thank
reminder
you
to
for
you all
having me.
ELC students, go watch back what he said about how to dissect movies. It's really important.
Yeah, it's really important. We were giving you free lectures.
Yeah,
From,
yeah.
we're not we. I mean,
Yeah,
Ari,
They just
giving free
gave you good
lectures.
tips on how to do it. So y'all better go watch it back.
Yeah. And okay, and for sure you should follow at Ari and at one Zamah, right?
WM Zama atau Wanimes, whichever you prefer. Wanimes is my inactive anime account. WMZAMAKH is my main account. I think that's where people will go.
Right,
Mhm.
cool.
And then you should also look forward to Aries videos on ML Studios for sure. And yeah, and look out for the next episode where we're also going to interview another senior.
Let's go.
I feel at this point, most of my guests are like seniors or like people I've just met.
I mean, as long as they're informative,
It's easy connection,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, anyways, yeah. So the next episode we're gonna invite Farishiro. He's also an alumni of UiTM,
All right.
Dungong. Not this UiTM, but like
Alright,
another
UiTM.
UiTM. So we're gonna talk about the Japanese culture, right? We're gonna talk about Japanese because he's been there. So yes, so we're gonna release that episode next year on the 6th of January.
So y'all better keep out for that. So we'll
He
see you in the
speaks
next episode again.
fluent
Yes.
Japanese as well. He
Yeah.
speaks fluent
So
Japanese as well,
technically
right?
these-
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically, basically, these last two episodes are like Japanese style ish.
Yeah, Asian.
Yeah, Asian. We're moving on to the Asian part of the series. Right. So again, thank you for those who have been watching our episode today. For everyone who's listening up to this point, do fill in the feedback form down below, right? fill in the feedback form down below, and we want to hear your feedback. We want to hear what you think of the show and how we can improve it.
Also, don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and also follow us at English Club Yoitian.
Yes, and also
on
Instagram and also Facebook, where we post you very informative English tips for you to improve your English. Right? We have done a lot of infographics on how to improve certain things in your grammar, all that good stuff. These little things are the things that actually make a big difference in life.
Very true.
Yes.
Right, so with that being said, we'd like to conclude the show.
Yes. Thank you everyone for watching. What's Up World? Right, it has been a very animated episode.
Nice.
Very animated episode. And thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.